Welcome to Insight with Moonshadow. I am Moonshadow, an integrative holistic therapist, intuitive shaman, interfaith minister, and chief evangelist with over 30 years of experience here in the U.S. as well as internationally. My intention is to connect you, and to you to yourself, as well as you to the world around you. So it's my goal to make you a better you, and when you're a better you, you're better to everyone. So this is really heavily important, right? So now, this week on Insight with Moonshadow, as I get more out of my phone, in this week, it's about the power of music. Now, let's just ask yourself this question. What would happen? What would happen? Now, this is something you ask yourself. What would you do if there was no music? If there's complete silence? Now, be aware, I've worked with people that were deaf. They can still feel frequencies, but just imagine for a second if you could not connect music. If there was no such thing of music. There was no rhythm. There was no. Now, I have to know quite a few people in this room presently that are motivated and moved by music. Okay? Some of us really like percussion. So you have Anna. I will shout out a couple of people. And of course, you have Q, which Q does ballroom dancing. So no music, no ballroom dancing. That would be a very sad Q. That'd be a droopy Q, wouldn't it? So if you really think about the power of music, sometimes at any given moment, that could be the one thing that makes you or breaks you. That could be the one thing. The one thing that pushes you over the edge, good or bad. That could be that motivates you or propels you into doing something different. So now, if you really think about the power of music, I remember as when I was younger, long before I actually picked up a guitar, I just was so touched by music all the time. And music is constantly going. Even my family, as I was being raised, the same thing. We always had music around us. We always had, if we were cleaning the house, we always cleaned the house as a family. We ate as a family. Now, these are things that, unfortunately, we don't see this happening so often. Okay, we don't see this happening as often as we used to. The whole doing family things, or being together for family, or game night, or movie night, or anything like that. Now that's something I can say that I could bring back from my own childhood that I miss, and may my father rest in peace. If he was here, he would appreciate the topic of today's show as well, because I remember catching my father, and this is kind of funny. You have people that are heavily into rock, right? They do the air guitar, it's like, they're playing the guitar, right? Without knowing that they can play the guitar, or air drums. My father used to air conduct. And, well, I hope it's it's minor. But glad you're back, Terry. So the thing is, with this, my father used to air conduct. So I remember on more than one occasion, I would catch him with the Boston Pops or the London Philharmonic in the background, and him conducting. And that was his version of, he was air conducting as opposed to me, that kind of thing. We used to play old LPs. We used to dance around the house and do crazy things. We used to clean the house with music on. And this is the cool thing, is that ultimately, if you really think about it, you may not even know. Because sometimes we put this in the back of our minds. I can guarantee 99.9% of us here in this broadcast I'm going to say one moment in time when you first met that special someone, when you first met that guy or girl. You were young, 13, 14, 15 years old, whatever. I bet you remember. I bet you remember what song was on. And if you didn't have a song going on at that point, you found a song that was your song, right? That was combined, your song together. So that's just one aspect. There are songs there's types of music that I've connected to when there were some serious problems and serious things that happened in my life, monumental things, big, huge things that happened in my life that there was music attached to. So it's therapy. It could be an influencer. As Lindy's saying, music is an amazing influencer. Now, I've also worked with people that were on the autism spectrum. I've worked with people that were physically challenged and people that are mentally and emotionally and spiritually challenged as well. But the thing is, some of those people that you can't necessarily connect to, like within the autism spectrum, they have found studies that music connects them. Also, animals also connect them too, but that's a topic for another day. But music in itself, the rhythm of music. Like, with me, it was always about the percussion and about the rhythm of the music. Now, all the solos and all those things are like icing on the cake, right? But without that rhythm, without that heartbeat, without those drums, without that bass, you wouldn't have all of that, right? So it's like a build-up. Like Dina's saying, Journey. Yep, I remember quite the Journey moments back in high school. And Anna's saying Unchained Melody. This page isn't mine. I actually remember a little fun fact that I actually do know how to dance a bit, but it's not this individual dancing. I used to dance like the lambada and more the dirtier dancing, so to speak. But then back then, I had a very spicy girlfriend, so it's a given. But also too, now music isn't just about music; it's about vibration. So Terry is bringing up a good valid point. She's bringing about the point of sound meditation. Now that's a gong. I believe it's called a gong bath. I think it is, or a sound bath, because you have singing bowls, you have didgeridoo. This would all be included in music. This would all be included in that rhythm, that heartbeat. And it all started. All of it started from way back when, back in tribal times, where it was a communication. If I was to communicate with you in long distances, I would either use vocalizations or I would beat on a log. So that's how it all started. So a lot of people, they like their type of music. Oh, and definitely sound and sound can be such an amazing healing tool and modality for sure. And Terry is like a million times affected by just last night. So that's awesome. But that's how it all started. It was ways of messaging other people. It was ways. It was our texts or SMS or email back in the day. It was beating on certain rhythm so other people could see you. And then of course there was drums. So then they started using drumming as a way of messaging. So that was wild. And then what happens? So it all comes from the same root. Music all came from the same root. It all came from that percussion, from that heartbeat, from that beating of a drum, and it just exponentially grew and grew to now we have everything from heavy metal to classic rock to classical music to Baroque to chants, Gregorian chants. It's just, without going into the whole history of music, music has probably been the one language, other than math, believe it or not, math and science, but music has been the one language that has always been pretty close from the beginning. And just think about this too, just with vocalizations, a lot of times, even with wolves and whales, they can communicate far distances just by what they do. Prairie dogs. But that's all part of where music came from, where it started. So honestly, and of course, since we all came from basically that large man mass, Africa, because it was all one land mass at one point in time. I've always been in tune and in touch with drums and percussion and that kind of thing. I chose guitar as my main instrument, but flutes and wind instruments are really cool, harmonica, stuff like that as well, bass. But the thing is this, though. If there was no music, I don't know if there would be a me. And I bet a lot of us here in this broadcast right now can say the same. What would you do, or who would you be, if there was no music? So now, let's look at the real deep part of the matter of what music can do. Music can uplift you if you'd like. If you're really down in the dumps, you could either sit with it a spell by playing more depressing music. Guilty. I've done that. But also, too, changing it up. This is where, to me, how I've viewed music as a whole has been emotion. Music, to me, music equaled emotion, and vice versa. That was communication. You want to go way back when in the birth of the mixtape. Way back when. Some of you don't even remember the mixtape. I'm talking the mixtape, cassette. Now, nowadays, it's all digital. It's all MP3s and all that kind of thing. But the whole thing is it started from putting together your favorite songs and putting them on a disc, or putting them on a tape, or putting them in a playlist and doing that. I can tell you, I've done this quite often. I've made volumes. I've got volumes and volumes and volumes of CDs with different mixtures of music, and I could tell you exactly where I was. I can tell you what I was feeling that moment in time. When I made that disc, it's like you don't even have to put a date on it. Like, I can tell which song brought up which memory, which people or person or people were attached to that memory. All of those things, they come flooding back. So music really is a form of therapy. No different than art is a form of therapy. So part of what you can do in utilizing music is, instead of sitting there and sitting with, whether it be pain or anger or any of that, really look at it. Really think about throwing yourself into a song, singing yourself, playing a drum if you're musically motivated. And it's true, and Dina's mentioning here, nothing like the warmth of vinyl, even that record skip. There's something about hearing an old blues tune and that record skip. It's not, it's not major high resolution. It's not noiseless. You can almost hear what's going on in the studio because the studios weren't as soundproof as they were, as they are now. Now, Terry's back. A guy would make a cassette. Would make a cassette for his girl with their favorite songs on it. And you know what? I'll tell you. Being someone that has done that when I was younger, for you to put together all those songs, it took hours sometimes to put together just a mix, just the right combo of songs to show that special someone how much they mean to you. It was even more so than just going to the store and buying flowers or buying a gift. Hey Keith, welcome. And I'll tell you, that's the thing, even to this day, I can pretty much tell you that any serious moment in my life, I can guarantee I probably remember the song that happened when that went down. Welcome, Ariel. For example, I remember the first big, huge, major split up. And the song that was playing back then. So a lot of this, you go back to this and you go, wow, And I'm not even talking like, you go back to your old high school mixers and proms and things. And if you really think about it, that was a rite of passage, right? Those songs came and they connected to you in such a big way. All those things you remember. Now, the good and bad about being an empath. The good is you're deeply connected. So if it's a good situation, it's phenomenal. It is like amazeballs phenomenal. But the downside to being an empath, you remember everything. Okay? You remember the first time you got, like, Ariel saying during her first job, in college, everything. You remember the first song that played when you got fired. You remember the first song that, when you had, goosebumps about the first, girl or guy that you met. All of that, But this is something that it just resonates with your heart. It's so intertwined with your emotions that a lot of people don't realize the true, absolute power of music. They've even done this as well with plants. There were studies that they had done with plants that they would play classical music in a big, huge, nursery with plants. You had two different nurseries. You have one that's no music and you had one with music. Believe it or not, the plants with music, they were greener, they grew faster, they grew fuller. So even plants realized, even they resonated. Now granted, it may have been the vibration, it could have been any of those things. Obviously plants don't have ears. But the point is, there was some form of event. There was some form of effect that happened. So this is why I brought it up today. Because the other day, I was feeling a little reminiscent about a lot of things. And I needed to get myself out. And meditating wasn't doing it. My monkey mind was way, just way too frenetic. So what happened? I started going through my MP3 player. And I've got something like, 2,700 songs on my MP3 player. So I'm going through songs, and then all of a sudden I found that my monkey mind was quiet. my monkey quiet, my monkey mind shut up. So I kept on doing that. So back in the day, I made a mixed CD, so I can throw my Jeep, play that kind of thing. But this is, and I sang songs, I reminisced about songs, I connected with memories behind songs, everything. I did that for a good 2.5 hours. And I didn't even realize how quickly 2.5 hours went. Right? And then after 2.5 hours of doing this, I realized I wasn't feeling the same way. You know? Hey, Joe. I wasn't feeling the same way. I had literally healed my spirit for that moment. I didn't realize it was 2.5 hours later. And this is what the power of music can do. There's a saying, music soothes the savage beast. I actually knew a friend of mine had some very rambunctious animals. And the funny aspect of that was whenever there was music being played, they calmed down. So it was wild. And I also knew a little infant that actually, believe it or not, liked rock music. And that's what put this baby to sleep, was rock music. Something about the heavy bass and the drums that just drove this baby to be calmer and go to sleep. So how crazy is that, right? So music is an influencer. And we are influenced in so many different ways. Hey, Kat. So now, Anna's saying it's fantastic how much music you relate to. I'm still thinking of what we talked about. Yeah, and Anna and I have had multiple conversations about different types of music and so many different types of things. Hey, Garrett. Straight from South Africa. Hey, good to see you. And by the way, belated happy birthday. I missed your birthday, but happy birthday. So now Anna is saying that her granddaughter relaxes to jazz. And then, of course, Ariella is saying here, she's, if I'm trying to nap, I usually have some ambient music on to help calm Echo and Toby down, which are her Cheweenies, so that she can actually sleep. Now, ambient music, now that's another, like drums and bass, love that stuff. Love certain electronica, which is really cool. Certain techno, believe it or not, techno isn't all the same. You got so many different genres of electronica and industrial music. So really, if you think about it, you know, part of the reason why I'm bringing the topic is there are people that I know that they were raised with a certain type of music and they don't budge. That's all they listen to. So, and I was even there at one point in time. There's two genres of music that I could not stand. Now I was DJing. At the time, and there was two genres of music I couldn't stand, and that was rap and that was country. And at the time, I was DJing in different clubs. I was also DJing in a couple exotic clubs as well. And what happens? The two types of music I didn't like were being requested: rap, hip hop, rap, and country. And I'm talking about the twangy, bluegrassy type country. I'm talking about legit country, not this crossover stuff that's happening. That's kind of poppy country. And what I'll tell you, that was a lesson, because it brought me to realize that all music has a story. All music is a story. All music is an emotion. So I learned how to really enjoy bluegrass, like "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou," and bluegrass music, banjo music. I'll tell you, try to play banjo. You need some crazy skills to play banjo. Not even trying. But the thing is, if you really take a look at the basis of music, it's all founded on the same. It's all founded on percussion. It's all founded on that heartbeat, on that rhythm. It's all founded on the emotion. So whether it's a story of the street or it's a story of the country. Now there's a joke that goes interchangeably. What would you do if you played a blues records backwards? You get your girl back, you get your dog back, you get your guitar back. Well, guess what? They have the same joke for country music. What happens if you play a country music song backwards? You get your truck back, you get your house back, you get your girl back. So, but this is the thing. Two pretty different types of music, but a similar story. So it's really all about storytelling. It's really all about how you connect, how your heart connects to this underrated, amazing healer. Now, if you think about it this way as well, it could also be a marketing tool. Not a big fan of the marketing tool, but it works. You look at casinos. Casinos, you hear a lot of activity. You see a lot of activity. Bright, no windows. The music is upbeat. Okay, you have a lot of activity. Why? Because they want people awake. But when you're in an elevator, they play music. They calm you down. So even music is a marketing tool, is a way of manipulation. I know, scary thought, but it's true. So even now, you think about in advertising, I believe it's Cadillac commercials. They're playing Led Zeppelin's Rock and Roll for a Cadillac. They're selling caddies. Now, the last thing I would think about is Led Zeppelin driving a caddy listening to Led Zeppelin. Okay. However, think about the mastery of this. They're taking old rock and roll people, or older baby boomers, rock and roll people, and they're trying to redesign or rebrand their car, their automobile, right? Their car. So what they're doing is they're retooling it by playing Led Zeppelin. Look at the amazing marketing they use with Heard It Through the Grapevine and the California Raisin Association. Isn't that interesting? Now, there's always music going on. You know, there's always music going on, and you may not even realize it, to the point where we are even motivated and manipulated earlier and earlier for Christmas. This year, Halloween stuff and Christmas stuff was coming out at the same time. At the same time, simultaneously, I saw places with Halloween stuff and Christmas stuff side by side. Now that's unfortunately a really big marketing coup. I'm not a big fan of the commercialism of it, but that's just my personal soapbox, me standing on a soapbox with that. I think commercialism is okay to some degree, but the humanity is still so important. Right? So you're looking like, August, September, they're already rushing and moving you and manipulating you and pushing you. And again, what is the basis of that? What is the motivator? What is the influencer here? Music. Right? So yeah, also cartoons too. Think about that. Music has been a vital tool for a lot, the audio as well as the visual, catching our eye has always been something to motivate you. Take care, Dina. Pleasure seeing you. So yeah, so I can honestly tell you I have not played any Christmas music yet. Yeah, it's terrible. The commercialism of Christmas kind of has put a bit of a damper over the past few years. But I will suggest this. It's an album called Even Santa Has the Blues. If you could find a copy of that, get a copy of that, do it. I'll tell you, it is just an incredible album. And it's just amazing. Take care, Lindsay. Just got to go do her mama thing. So ultimately, this is something where you really think about it. So music can soothe a colicky baby. Music can make us buy that race car or buy that luxury car. Music can make us spend more money at the shopping mall. It can calm us down in the elevator. One story, I've been around a long time. So almost half a century. So here is during lunch at one point in time, and I may have mentioned the story in another one of my broadcasts here on Inside Moonshadow, but I was working with people of different challenges, and they were all anywhere from light, moderate, to pretty heavy-duty profound. Now, they all happen to be in two major classrooms that I was teaching in, or assistant teaching in. So one day, I decided that I wasn't going to have lunch out. I was actually going to have lunch in. So I went home, and I planned on grabbing anything that makes noise. I found blocks, maracas, anything that would make rhythm, drums, you name it. I brought it, and I brought my guitar. Now, without asking, no surprise here. Without asking, I go and I show back up into my classroom, and everyone's there, and they're just sitting there. So I'm thinking, I set up, I pull out my guitar, I put blocks in front of people, I put drums, I put shaky things. I made little containers with rice in them, with beans in them. Now this is something that I was kind of working on eventually doing, and I was going to ask permission. Sorry, not sorry. But the thing is, so with all of this stuff, the amazing thing happened. People, these individuals, these people, these souls, these spirits, that you didn't expect a lot from them. Again, some of them were moderate and profound. You would never think that they would do anything or do much other than watch or listen. I had every one of my students in that classroom making noise, to the point where other people in other rooms in this day program came running in thinking if there was some kind of problem. Now, I will say this. I got into trouble over doing that. That was probably the best write-up I've ever had in my life. That would probably really was. Why? Because I reached out to them. And why did I get written up? Because I did something that people with college degrees, again, they were looking at them as diagnosis. They were looking at what their labels were and not who they were. People. So it was an amazing thing. It was an amazing thing. And I remember getting told, well, you didn't ask permission, and what if something happened? And I'm like, what's going to happen? They're going to throw a block? What's going to happen? Those things were already there. They're already safe. The whole point of it was this. They all did something. And yes, we reached each other. It wasn't just me. I was just the catalyst in this. I just started it. But I saw them smiling. I saw them really enjoying themselves. There were a couple of my students that I would never expect them anything. I'm talking about one stamped his foot and he barely moved, and he was like stamping his foot. This is the thing. Music is such a powerful tool, and not everyone realizes how powerful this modality is. So next time your child is having a hard time, try playing some different types of music. I can almost guarantee something's going to happen. You'll be amazed. Just like also too, an old school remedy as well is for a colicky baby, you run a vacuum, or you have the FM noise. FM noise is also known to be incredibly powerful in healing and soothing, which for all you old school people that were around before cable, that was after 2 o'clock. After 2 a.m., it'd go to snow. And when that happened, that means this is now the end of your broadcasting day. And then they wouldn't start back up till 6 or 7 or 8 or whatever time it was, which was the morning news. But that was the cool thing about it. Sound is amazing. I have seen studies where there was this one video that I had seen, and this newborn was born deaf, and this newborn had been given the ability to hear, and the first thing this baby heard was his mother's voice. Wow. The first thing this baby heard was, and it touches my heart, because the first thing that this mom was saying is, "Oh, you can hear me," and the baby's looking straight at his mom, and she says, "You can hear me," and she goes, "I love you, I love you, I love you," and it's the first words out of the first words this baby was listening to is how much he was loved. So that's wild stuff. Now, Ariel is saying, music can even help when you're panicking while Christmas shopping. Turn on ambient music instead. Feeling on the edge of a panic attack, ambient music. So apparently, Ariel's a big fan of ambient music. And I'm going to say, I agree, where there's some ambient music that's almost like tribal and ambient. So it's like a combination between the digital and the analog, the primitive and the electronic. And even then, binaural beats as well. And also, I will say this. I will suggest this to anybody. Binaural beats, you can check them out on YouTube. You can buy them with HemiSync. HemiSync is one of the brands that you can also purchase. But it's called brain entrainment. And you have the ability to retrain your brain. And it bounces your right and left hemispheres. This is science, people. This is science. It bounces your right and left hemispheres, and it connects them. So now you're not thinking like split-brained. You're actually thinking where it's like they kind of flip-flop things a little bit, and they flex that muscle. They flex your brain to be wired a little differently. And it is just crazy awesome stuff. So definitely, you can try it out. You can check it up right up on YouTube. Look up binaural beats. It is incredible. It's an incredible modality as well. And again, bring it right back to music, because like one of the things that I've utilized as well is light and sound. I actually have a light and sound machine where you put on goggles where they're flickering at a certain frequency in the goggles themselves, and then you plug it into type of music, and there's a certain tone that's in the background, and that could help your concentration, that can help you to study, that can help you to get some sleep, that can automatically put you into a meditative state. All of that. There's a lot that you can do with binaural beats. So one of the things you can do is utilize, if you don't have all this music, utilize the great interweb, you can find so many things there, which is just powerful. Now, Q is saying, I use a sleep stream at my iPhone for that, and I pass out easily. Yeah. They have probably 4 or 5 music apps on my phone. and it's just, Spotify is, Spotify is awesome. I have, I think, I don't know, 2,800 songs on a Spotify playlist. And I don't even separate the playlist. They're all there. So whatever feeling that I'm feeling at the moment, I can guarantee the song that is needed for me to hear is going to play. That's a little fun fact with the universe and how it works. You'll find this even on the radio. If you happen to be driving and you turn on your radio, and all of a sudden you go, "Wow, I haven't heard that song in a long time." That song was meant for you. That is your soul. That's your soul council, your soul tribe, or your totems, your life protectors, your guardian angels, telling you something. It's a message. So that's really, really cool. Now Anna's saying, actually listening music under Moon's lovely voice today. Oh, well, thank you. Now, she also has a white sound machine, Anna, for rain that helps. Now, that's another thing, too. Rain. Rain itself is music. Thunder is music. They have combined, the sound of rain, the sound of a lake, the sound, nature sounds. There was there were 2 CDs, which I still have somewhere put away. One is called New Age Wolf, and one is called, I think it was either Jazz Wolf or New Age Wolf, and I think one was New Age Whales, where they had music in the background and whale songs combined. And it was just incredibly powerful. So this is all really, really important. This is why I bring up this topic today, because music, not only does it soothe the savage beast, it could get you going. It can get you moving. Now, one of my favorite songs of not recent, but is Uptown Funk. Now, you combine that with ballroom dancing, it's kind of interesting, and Q knows this because I have said this quite often and showed the video quite often. But it's interesting how you can combine different genres of music with different styles of dance and do something completely different. So granted, I'm not as much of a dancer as other people in this broadcast. However, music and dancing, music and living, even music and breathing, it's all part of this rhythm of your life. Well, that would probably be up to me if I put that in the description there in YouTube. But that is a great sound. That is a great song, Uptown Funk. And that happens to be something that gets you motivated, gets you moving. For sure. Now, at this point, this is bringing to your awareness the fact of this underrated hero, really, this amazing healing tool. It's something where we can all alter and change a lot of things, especially nowadays with the stress level as it is. And in the holidays, as the last broadcast, talking about the stresses and what's going on, you do have the ability to alter or change or mellow, or you have the ability to motivate yourself or put yourself into or shift yourself into a different mindset. It doesn't take a lot. All it takes is really, really determination and persistence, and for you to find that thing, that one thing, whether it be painting, whether it be dancing, whether it be listening to music, whatever it is. But today, with today's topic, music. Now, you may have not thought about it much. It's a weird thing. It's like involuntary, like your heart beating, like your lungs filling up with air and releasing. And we do this without even thinking about it. The fact of moving your finger, the amount of mind power it takes to just move your finger back and forth. We do it involuntarily. And music affects us involuntarily as well. So now this is all bringing it back a little bit more of a mindful idea, a mindful focus on music. Now I understand the only Christmas song I've connected with this year was the Carpool Karaoke with Mariah Carey. Oh, there you go. I have not seen that yet. My niece is infatuated with Mariah Carey Christmas songs. She loves it. She plays it over and 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 over again. So I'm kind of done with Mariah Carey. Just because. But because of that little one, what are you going to do? You pay it 1,000 times. It keeps her in check. It keeps her dancing. It keeps her moving. It keeps her motivated. It keeps her reacting and changing and using her brain and using her body. So I think that's phenomenal. So this is a big part of it. This is a big thing. And if you notice, a lot of this, between the marketing, between healing work, between your own emotions, all of these things. So it's like powerful stuff. And and if you want to dig it up, that's great. I will give it a listen. I'd probably pass it on. I'll probably pass it on to my niece as well. She'll probably dig it a little bit more than I would. However, I'm always good for a good laugh, so that's all good. What up? Oh, Elton John was in it too. Oh, it was a massive compilation. And that's another thing. Then you have, with music, you have different collaboratives, like Lady Gaga and Tony Bennett. Now I have an extra added respect for Lady Gaga because Tony Bennett is just incredible. Tony Bennett also jammed with the Red Hot Chili Peppers. No joke. No different than Tom Jones also jammed with Prince. So a lot of what can happen with music can do so many wonderful things. It can really change the world. As a matter of fact, Bob Marley, his main motivation was to write his music and to spread the word of love through music. And even though people did outrageous, violent things to him, he still played. He still put out his music out there. And to this day, he's still a huge, incredible icon. Doesn't matter if even young people at this point in time, they may not know Bob Marley much, but they have heard some Bob Marley, whether it be Three Little Birds or Buffalo Shoulder or I Shot the Sheriff. They'll remember. But these are things that musicians have had a pulse. Musicians have had a pulse on this form of healing for quite some time. And some of us get it because we've been raised around music. Some of us kind of benignly don't even think about it. But the interesting thing about this, though, is that music has motivated all of us. All of us, in one way, shape, or form. And if you really, truly think about it, you too, and it's funny because I was just talking to someone the other day about music. And they had said, one of my biggest regrets was I've never played an instrument. I never learned an instrument. And I said, you know the volume knob, right? And the tuning knob on the radio, right? You've sung in the shower, haven't you? Now, even if you sing solo, so low that no one can hear you, or you sing in the shower, there are a lot of people that used to do that with the hairbrush too. I know quite a few of my friends used to sing with their hairbrushes, bouncing up and down in their bed, singing to Cyndi Lauper, girls just want to have fun or whatever. But this is all a thing. This brings memories. This brings healing. This brings sorrow. This brings sadness. This brings happiness. Ultimately, this can change so many things. Anyone that's married in this broadcast, or has been married, I can guarantee you remember the song. You remember the song if you did the one that was proposed, if you were the one that was proposing, you remember the song that was going on, that you put on maybe. Or the song that, when you were proposed to, the song that was on. So really, if you think about it, music is just incredible. So now, looking at right now what's happening in the world, with the stress level, chaos as it is, I suggest for you find some of your old albums, or go on YouTube, go digging through your library. And Ariel is saying, people use music to celebrate and worship deities. That's got to say something. And it's true. And not only that, whether you're commemorating something, music's on. Whether you know it or not, there's some form of music. If you're sad, music's playing. How many times has anybody sat somewhere and, again, well, this is going back in time a little bit. This could be a blast in the past for some people. I remember looking through a jukebox. There was an Italian restaurant. It's still in it's still current. But they have a jukebox at every booth. And it's a small little jukebox, and you literally play music. You put in like a quarter and you get 3 plays. You get I think you get 2 or 3 songs. So that's kind of cool. That's pretty neat. And that's old school stuff. And then if you look at you look at a lot of these old places. And that also happens as well. Even with when we're sending somebody off, when they have now passed on, they've let go of their body, and they're passing on. How often do we play that song, their favorite song, or their favorite artist? Think about that. So today is really a gentle reminder to say, hey, no matter how stressed you are or how bad you feel, there's something that you have this amazing tool of empowerment and motivation. And it's probably just a few feet away from you. If you're in your car, it's literally like what? About a foot? So find it. Go back to where that rhythm is. Go back to where the heart started, where your heartbeat started way back. Put some music on that makes you feel young again, or brings you to happier times. It's powerful stuff. And hopefully this little gentle reminder will make you bust out some old CDs, or go on to, your iTunes or your Amazon Prime, and make you start thinking of, maybe investing in the soul, music collaborations and that kind of thing, or make your own playlist, because that could be the one thing that gets you moving. Yeah, Ariel's saying, Baby Beluga was stuck in my head the other day. Baby Beluga. I'll have to look that one up. But yeah, I remember the Barney song. I cannot stand Barney song. And I remember listening to the Barney song the first time and really not liking it right from the get-go. Whoa. Sorry about that, people. And I never really liked that song. And it stuck to my head. Now, isn't it funny how certain songs will stick to your head? They'll just stick in there. And you're like, ah! Now, another song, interestingly enough, Gangnam Style. That happened to stick in my head for quite some time. So now, yeah, when that stuck in my head, it was like, oh boy, that's what introduced me into K-pop and Korean pop music. And even now, I have a special place in my heart for K-pop. But it's just wild stuff. So ultimately, this is really just to let you know that you have the ability to change things. You may not change the situation, but you can surely change how you cope with that situation, whatever modality it could be. And I have brought to you a few different ways of shifting yourself, shifting your mindset, different tools that you could utilize. There's so many different things you could do. So many different ways you can connect. So many different possibilities. You have a toolbox within you. Whether you've been doing over 30 years of work like I have or not, you have the ability to really reach around and really say, hey, I can change how I'm feeling right this moment. Because it's never really always over. That's the one thing that we have that's a definite. That's one thing that is a constant. And that's change. Change is constant. So it's up to you whether you choose to be part of that change, to embrace change, or fight against change. Don't adapt. It's entirely up to you. But there are tools within your grasp for you to really connect with and grab onto so you can change any given situation or alter any given situation to make things a little bit better, a little more palatable, a little less stressful, a little more comical. All of those things. Sometimes a combination of those things. So it's something for you to think about. Now Anna's saying here, I used to make playlists for a friend of mine before a show they had, just to motivate them and to make them feel fantastic before they did their live show. And that's pretty cool stuff. And I remember, and that's one of the reasons why this topic also came up too, is I came across one of my old CD cases. One of my old CD cases, and the case is ginormous. As a matter of fact, here next to me. So it's no joke. We don't fool around. This is my CDs, and it's not in the sleeves. This is like packed full of CDs. So before all this digital media, I was carrying something like that all the time to throw in the CD player. Now it's a bit different. You can throw on Spotify or there's a few. I'm a little lost. There's a rock app. There's iHeartRadio, which is also a really awesome one as well. There's quite a few. So I also suggest for you to, put a music app on your phone. If you don't want to, clog your phone up with all kinds of music, or if you don't have the space for it, you can get a really great music app that will just stream the music, which is pretty nice. That also works as well. So ultimately, we're going to close up the broadcast, but I hope I brought some memories to you. I hope I motivated you to think about some things. Hopefully not all sad things, hopefully happy things. Hopefully I moved and touched you a bit in the sense of old memories and the want to make new memories. Now Ariel's also sharing here that she remembers having a portable CD player and feeling so fancy. Yeah, those were the days, right? Things are so different now and so small. But ultimately, I hope it's touched you enough for you to realize, okay, I may not be into Christmas music right now. I may want to do some blues music. And also, by the way, there is Punk Goes Christmas, just saying. There's a lot of different other Christmas songs that you could see and you can hear and you can buy. So it's not just the standards, which I gotta love Bing Crosby and gotta love Bing Crosby and David Bowie doing Drummer Boy and Elvis's Blue Christmas. You gotta love those too, those standards. But I'll tell you, there's a lot of new ones that you can make standards as well in your life. So think about that. Hopefully that makes you want to blow the dust off some of your music collection and make you really think about, hey, I wonder where that old CD player was, or I wonder where that song is. I still have a box full of cassettes somewhere. Yeah, I can just imagine where they are. They've probably got a lot of dust on the box, but I hope that this topic resonated within your heart. I hope you enjoyed it, and I want to thank all of you for being here on episode, I believe this is episode 48. Episode 48 here of Insight with Moonshadow. So it'll be coming up to a year. So I'm really, really excited about that. I'll have to do something special for the anniversary. I'm still thinking about that. But I want to thank you all for being here and spending time with me here with Insight with Moonshadow. And all of you do inspire me to do this work and just to share stories and learn from you and guide you in different ways and, put a bug in your ear or tweak your brain a little bit, make you think a little differently, maybe throwing you on your head in a healing way, challenge you. But all of it is because you inspired me to do that. So this has been my life purpose for a long, long time, and I appreciate all of you taking the time on a Monday to pop in when, some of you had to pick up your kids midway through the broadcast. Other parts you had to either make dinner. Other people had to make dinner and things like that. So I appreciate you spending your time here with me on my broadcast with Insight Moonshadow. So if you feel guided, if you want to connect with me any further, you can go ahead and catch the replay on YouTube Live, on my channel, and you can find all of that on PhoenixRisingHealingArts.com or MoonPhoenixRising.com. You can feel free to connect and support in any way, shape, or form, whether it be good juju or even throwing a few bucks my way. I'm open to that as well. You can send good juju in multiple forms, so I appreciate that. And you can catch all of that on my website, and you can see Insight with Moonshadow under the social media links tab on my website. So as I say every week, be strong, be amazing, be you. See you next week, people. And also, too, taking a quick look, looks like I'm not going to see you for Christmas. So, have a happy, merry, very, and happy holidays, however you celebrate. So, talk to you guys soon. Take care. Peace.